Today, I'm pleased to have with me on this podcast Gemma Rial. She's the founder of Real Kids. It's a startup that makes snacks that are healthy for parents who want to have the best for their children. And I would say that I'm one of them. I've tried your products, Gemma, and I would say that they are a lifesaver, especially when you're not a great meal planner like myself. So thank you very much for taking the time to have this call today and to catch up.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, pleasure.
It's an absolute pleasure to me as well. So the idea, Gemma, behind these podcasts is you're a founder, I'm a founder, and it's a very big challenge to start something new and to start a company. It comes with enormous challenge. For me, it wasn't really a path that I had a very clear vision for. It was something that I kind of stumbled upon. I was fortunate enough in a certain time of my life to pay attention to math, and I was really lucky. It wasn't something that I strategized, and that allowed me to do what I do right now. So along the way, I wasted so much time, I wasted so much money, I wasted so much energy. I didn't really know how to focus. So the purpose of these calls and these podcasts is to talk to friends, to old students, with inspiring stories and how they were able to find their vision. And so that's what I wanted to ask you about today. Who you are, how you started, and ultimately how did you find your vision?
So yeah, thank you so much. So I think it's a quite, I would say, tricky question because if I think about it, I'm Gemma Rial. I'm from a small village in Catalonia called Santpedor. And even when I was a little kid, even though you are exposed to such a, your context and you don't know anything else, I always had in me that I wanted to travel, to see the world, to see different realities. And I can see this now. So most of my friends back in school, they're still living in the village, which is absolutely fine, by the way, but they didn't have this urge to see the world and to see different cultures. I was different. So in my case, I was the only one in my family or the first female who studied at the university.
Okay.
I studied at SADE with a scholarship. And then I went to India to do my MBA. And then I started my career in London. I work in so many different countries, Colombia, and it's been very exciting. I would say from when I was 20 to 30, I've been outside of Spain, working
Okay.
in different countries. And even my husband is English. So it's always think in me that I had that. And as well, I think it's very good to listen to yourself. So I've been in different jobs that I knew they didn't fulfill me, or they didn't reach my potential. But I learned so much for each of those individual jobs. When you are on it, you feel that you're wasting your energy, you're wasting your
Okay.
time. But looking back, I think each of those experiences, they teach you something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you say therefore it's well, what's interesting is, okay, you come from Catalonia, and there are a lot of great entrepreneurs from Catalonia. So there's like the entrepreneurial drive or spirit exists a lot over here. And so what you would tell me is that it's, first of all, it starts off with the urge or the desire to see the world, to see something different. You're looking for something. So there's something inside you that tells you, I want more, I want things that are different. So would you say that that's where it starts?
Exactly. You need to listen to yourself sometimes, why you feel frustrated, why something
Okay.
right. And sometimes the answer is on you, maybe you need to change your context, you need to be more exposed to different experiences. Just when you are young, you don't know,
Yeah.
and I didn't know what I like. I will never
Okay.
into found, you know, um, like a startup, like in foods and, snacks for kids. But
Yeah.
I always knew that I wanted to do something bigger, and to have an impact
Okay.
in people's
Would
lives.
you say, okay, so there's this idea that I want more, this is not enough. Even though you appreciate it, you enjoy the environment that you live in, you think that, but I want something more. And in your mind, it wasn't so much about having a company, but it's about creating something that makes a difference in people's lives.
Completely,
Where
because
do you think, where do you think that starts?
I mean, in my case, and it's very personal, I remember when I was in India and I was 20 and I came across this book about social entrepreneurship, you know,
Okay.
I never heard of. I had the image of, setting up a company, just pure capitalism, which is, I mean,
Yeah.
profit and you need to make it work. But I never associate the for good for profit, right? And that
Okay.
went really my mind. And when
Yeah.
in my previous jobs working with multinationals, I mean, I work with
Okay.
companies. I always thought there is always or must be a different way to do things, that is not
Yes.
always about profit. And I see it in the food industry, right?
Yeah.
I'm fighting against is the traditional food industry that what they are looking for is profits in the
Yeah.
expense of, yeah, like
For sure. Like the health.
completely health, like putting really bad
Yeah.
ingredients that they create chronic diseases, inflammatory.
Yeah.
So that's something that I said must be a way that doesn't compromise health and people's lives.
Yes. I mean, it's a really important initiative because it's very it's very exhausting, right? When I think about myself, like um, as a parent, so you always feel guilty, like, am I doing the best possible thing? And you're trying to look for a snack that is fast, that is on the way, and so it does really solve a huge problem. Did you when you decided that, okay, like the starting point was called like this desire to do something different, this desire to see different parts or different ways of being in the world, really,
Mhm.
and that caused you to travel because you wanted to experience something new, knowing that you do want to make a change, and then you traveled to India, and then you understood that, you know what, okay, it's important to make money, because to make money, when I make money, I can actually make a change, and you can create a company and you do things on your own terms. So my question is the following: okay, when we think about vision,
Mhm.
right? So the traits is wanting more, wanting to experience the world and looking for different experiences. How did you, when you felt, okay, this is something that I can do, how were you able to transform that vision into a reality? Because, and I mean, it is a challenge that I have on a daily basis, and you understand it really well, because there are a lot of tools, a lot of courses, a lot of methods that I would like to create that can help my students, but to actually transform it to a reality makes it is very challenging. And you think, okay, wow, now with AI I can code and I can create so many tools, but it doesn't solve the problem, because to actually deliver this product to people in a way that actually solves their problems is not really easy. So how did you transform your vision to a reality? Like, what are the steps that you took? Or maybe it was a sequence of steps.
I think it's a sequence steps, and sometimes you don't realize. So it's true that we live in a world that there is so much noise, and you are
Yeah.
constantly looking, and it's like, why not this? Because I mean, at the end, you need to prioritize and put your energy into something. And hopefully, first, before jumping into it, you need to look at it. Is there a big market in it? There is. So
Yeah.
I will explain my case. So I had this burning desire of doing something, but I didn't know what to do. So I
Okay.
literally breastfeeding my second kid. He was like newborn. So the maternity leave, I use it to scope opportunities. So I started
Yeah.
asking parents and moms, sending type form, questions
Yeah.
about, okay, what are the pain points? Is it like the snack time? It is like meal time? And from there, like finding the different pain points, that it was not just me, it was lots of parents. Then look
Yeah.
at the sector. Okay, how is the sector in terms of the snacks? No, that
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
growing, it's going down, it's slowing. Which are the key markets? So first of all, you need to be outside the real world. You need to ask questions to people. You need to observe. Um, and then, because you're gonna spend so much time and energy and even money, on it, you really need to feel passionate. So in my case, my pain, and I remember being in England when I was living in there, I could see like Tesco's and Waitrose, and they had so many aisles with healthy snacks for kids. Coming back to
Yeah.
Spain, there was absolutely nothing. But I saw parents having this need of, I need something better. So, I
Yeah.
think the dots, and then I'm not a nutritionist. I studied in a business school. So I said, okay, I want the best nutritionist to be in here to formulate with me, the snacks. So I took this commitment very personal, and I approached Lucy Upton. She's in the UK, and she was very, nice to say, yes, let me help you out. Let's see how can we bring these healthy snacks into Spain. And one of the things that she was telling me, and now it's a big trend, is that there is deficiency in fiber, you know,
Okay.
and now with humans, and especially with kids, because they don't need enough fruit and vegetables. So she was telling me, let's do something that we can give apart from, like some food, like we can give them some good, which is basically what fiber, and I want to explain to my kids, is that you give this food to your microbiome, like the little gut health.
Yeah.
So it's very important to have a strong immune system, not to be
Yeah.
sick. And so I would say that it's, in order for me to find what I wanted to do, I had to just ask myself what I'm passionate and ask to other people if there was an opportunity there, right?
Yeah.
That
It's
was
very
my.
interesting what you're saying because it's like what you're saying is, and I'm trying to create points so that whoever's listening to us can have these action points that they can follow. So you started off by, when we think about, okay, urge to see the world, and then because you wanted to do things differently and you had this idea that I want to make a difference, right? You want to give back to the world that you feel that you're part of. And so you traveled and you exposed yourself to different experiences. And even though they were perhaps not the thing that is your calling in life, you try to make the best of that experience and learn all that you can. And then you actually started to think about solving your own problems. And I think that is interesting because it's the advice that a lot of entrepreneurs who are experienced, or a lot of investors give, which is try to do something that solves your own problems.
Mhm.
And usually, if it is something that you need, perhaps other people need it, because it is really very true. Like, I'm not a great planner for meals. It's a huge challenge, like that we solve on a regular basis, me and my wife. And our concern is, but how do I actually save myself so much time and create a meal that is healthy for my child? And so you thought, okay, I understand. This is what I want to do. You asked your friends. You identified what it is that you know how to do, and then you identified what it is that you can't do, and that is the role of the nutritionist. So you found allies, basically.
Exactly.
Would you say that that is correct? You found an ally that shared your vision, and they closed the gaps that you have. And then from there, how do you maintain an alignment when you say, like, you arrive to a point where you now work with a team or your allies? How do you stay aligned along the same vision? Do you feel like that was a challenge for you, or is it something that naturally came easy? Are you a good leader?
Yeah,
What would you say?
I think I mean, you cannot do this job alone, right? So in our case, for example, our next step was to find a production company to produce the bar,
Yeah,
because when you go, I mean, it's a business to go with the scale, right? We are now in Carrefour nationally, growing
yeah,
um, into different markets as well. And the thing is that you need to align your values with the production company for sure, because they are the ones that they need to really pay attention to the formulation you gave them, to the quality of the ingredients. So I would say you need to pick the right partners, because very easily, you can have a vision, but then the key is execution. You
okay,
compromise on the product, on the quality of the product, on the way it's presented to the customer. Uh, for example, in my case, I really love, me and my team, to do a lot of sampling sessions. So you are at
okay,
supermarkets, you can see the reaction, you can speak to parents, to the kids.
yeah,
You learn so much by, real
interacting,
interact,
yeah,
rather than
yeah,
be behind the scenes. So it's like, okay,
yeah,
what can I learn? And ask questions to kids. Kids are great, they are honest.
They're very intuitive. They will really tell you exactly what they're thinking. I think they will really give you the best customer feedback. They won't sugarcoat it.
Exactly.
That's very true. What I like about what you're saying is that it seems, and I think that is an advantage you have over me. Like I think, perhaps it's my wiring or the fact that I studied engineering. Engineers have this problem where we obsess over solving a technical problem, which causes a lot of problems. At least I would say one of them is that you sometimes solve things that don't need to be solved. You're just obsessed with the technicality.
Mm-hmm.
That was number one. Number two, maybe it's more difficult for me to either convince or to share my vision or project with somebody else. Like you let go of it. So that's something that I had to learn. But it seems that to you, it was something that is very, very natural. You thought, I'm trying to build this thing. I need to find someone who can help me out. So for you, it came very naturally, I would say.
Yeah, naturally, but you need to be as well conscious that, for example, I'm a perfectionist, but at the same
Yeah.
time, I know that I don't own the whole value chain. So
Yeah.
I can own the formulation, but someone else is producing it for me. Someone else is delivering it to the supermarket. So sometimes things get wrong.
Yeah.
It's life.
True.
So what I learned is that you cannot control everything. What you can do is your best, that the product is well produced, it arrives on time, and that you pick the right partners, but you need to let go of things that you cannot control. Otherwise, you burn yourself. And you need to focus on things that are important to customers and to your clients ultimately. That's the most important.
I think there's like you shared things that are really very wise, and so far what I understand from you is the following. I'll always go back and I'll start. Maybe it's my habit as a teacher. I always try to summarize and make sure I understand where I'm starting and where I'm ending. I always used to use that phrase, start with the end in mind. I don't know if you still remember it.
Yeah.
So I'd say that the call, like you feel this desire that you want to see the world. You're curious. You want to see what other ways there are in the world to be and to do things. And you decided to travel and immerse yourself in a lot of experiences. Even though they were not your calling, you used those opportunities to learn about yourself and to learn about the world, to acquire skills. And then ultimately you found your passion. But what I like is that you said like you were mature enough to understand that you can't do this on your own, and you need allies in life. You can't go at it alone. That's very important advice. And I think this is really important, especially today, because we feel like we can do anything on our own. And I don't think it's true. So like you can go on ChatGPT or Perplexity or on Claude now. And so there's always this new tool that makes you feel like you can go at it on your own. And I think it's very detrimental in many ways.
Yeah.
From a personal standpoint, but also if I'm trying to build a company, you need to be mature enough and you need to pick your allies and you need to align your vision. So that's what I understand so far. And I feel like also you need courage, right? To actually do all these things.
You need a lot of courage and you need a lot of persistence. Things they don't come easy. I think that the thing that I learned just by experiencing, sometimes when you have a 9 to 5 job, so, you do your job, you get paid, that's it. You can have, headaches and problems, but at the end of the day, you got the salary. When you are into the more setting up your company, you need to find the boundaries to disconnect. You need to self-motivate yourself, because not everything goes as you plan. So there is
very true.
I would say, it's you learn so much about yourself, and as a person, and you need a lot of mental control. That's what I learned.
Yes.
It's the key for persistence, for keeping motivated, to think bigger,
And to be one's biggest fan, right? To be your biggest
Totally.
fan. That's very true.
Yeah.
So I think the last question that I would want to ask Gemma is, what would you tell your 20-year-old self? So someone out there who wants more from life and whatever it is that they're experiencing right now is not enough. What would you tell them?
I would say, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. If you are not in a context where, just find people who can help you out. So what I've seen is that people are happy. I mean, I found, and I put an example, some of my investors, I read an article on La Vanguardia and I literally LinkedIn and emailed them. So, even though it seems that people you are out of reach, don't be afraid. They are humans. They are willing to help. Think big. I really believe into manifesting really deeply. I think when you manifest, even though you don't know clearly where you want exactly, but you want something bigger and you want to have an impact, things come along. There is some signs that you can pay attention to. So I would say don't be afraid and use your 20s, like when you are young to make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes and you learn from everything. Every single experience is valuable. Yeah, and try to enjoy the ride because sometimes, and I remember myself on my 20s, you can feel very frustrated that you don't know what you want, but you are not 100% happy. Be easy on yourself. Just, get the experience, listen to getting to know yourself because you don't know yourself as when you are a father or a mom.
That's very true.
You don't know how you're going to be as a mom or as a dad. It's a learning process. So allow yourself to learn from anything, from any single role. That's my advice.
I think that is excellent advice, Gemma, and thank you so much for sharing your experiences and your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me and for having this opportunity I have.